move on and let's talk about some new stuff.
Thank you.
Vivian, you have been very excited
New
about
stuff.
a new weapon archetype that is coming with the Edge of Fate.
Is it going to be the pellet hand cannon?
For centuries, humanity has wondered, like, what would a legendary bow look like in the heavy slot? And today I have your answer. For Edge of Fate, we are building a crossbow. It plays like a new archetype, but it is
We're getting crossbows.
for the purposes of
Crazy.
It's gonna fill all your bounties.
Because Destiny Rising had crossbows.
Now,
I'm just saying.
So when we went to go make this, we knew it was a very cool fantasy, right? We
It's actually pretty cool.
The feeling of like really drawing it back and it hitting a single target and doing a ton of damage.
It's gonna be a heavy bow.
But we do have linear fusion rifles, right? And that's always the question: is like, what does this do that's different? What's the fun gameplay here? And we settled on, well, when you shoot that big heavy bolt and it hits your target, you can just go pick it back up. So this thing theoretically is a heavy weapon with unlimited ammo. You can use the same bolt for an entire
That's kind of
nightfall if you
cool.
want. I would love to see someone
That's kind of cool.
Go clear a dungeon without ever using anything else or whatever.
Just a crossbow? That's actually kind of cool.
You have to put yourself in danger. You have to go grab it.
Okay.
But it's just such a satisfying loop to just like pull it out of some dead hive, just put it in the rail, pull it back.
That's actually really cool.
Shoot someone else. It's great.
I saw last week in a PvP playtest, I saw someone run the entire map with a single bolt.
Yeah.
And they just kept it alive for minutes on end.
That was me. I'm sorry.
What if you picked up heavy in PvP?
It's like when you said infinite heavy ammo.
Literally.
Like, excuse me?
Yeah. Literally.
You gotta go get it. Yeah. So it's not free, but it is very potent.
Yeah. And in PvP, you only get the one. You gotta get the headshot, and it's very fun.
Oh, you have to get the headshot.
Like this game of like keep away, where you're like, we cannot let Taylor get near this thing.
Ooh, okay,
So
that's a little interesting. I'm gonna try that. I might try that. If I can get this crossbow,
of the portal system
get a
that we'll be talking
3-piece
about
in
next
trials
week
because
on
it's
July
infinite ammo.
1st.
That's
Make sure to
interesting.
tune in. But we're going to be taking some content from.
So obviously
just
you
the
have
history of
reserves, but if
Destiny
I
in
want
the
to see
portal
them
go
pick it
into
up.
play. Power progression. We'll be talking about that next week. So stay tuned.
So it has to be a headshot though,
Vivian,
apparently.
Back to the heavy crossbow though.
Oh, there is
We
that
were
it on the
talking
floor
about
right
this
there?
being legendary. So that means
I
random
can't.
rolls.
Yep.
And you
Pick up the
mentioned
crossbow,
bolts.
please. I want to see it.
Yeah. So we had a really fun opportunity.
I think that's what it is on the floor, right? The blue?
We go to the talent grid.
Yeah, it's arc.
And,
Okay.
we always want to make stuff kind of like new and different. And
Okay.
we got to the talent grid and we were like, this thing does not have a magazine. We cannot put magazines on this, right? And it gave us the opportunity to like really go, what would like a different magazine plug system look like? And so what we ended up going for is like, we have bolt types. And the bolt types, instead of
Screams are
just being
so cute
stats, they're
sometimes.
going to alter the way the bolt actually behaves out in the world.
Yeah.
Are they? Oh, I thought they were running triple bows.
One of them is like explosive bolt, where it's gonna put in a target, it'll like beep 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 beep, and it'll just explode, kind of like
Please
a
pick it
grenade
up.
launcher.
Just pick it up. There you go.
And we have. My personal favorite is
those
that
are
we have serrated bolts. I remembered to say.
But they weren't all headshots, so I'm guessing you can pick it up regardless.
If it doesn't have
At least in
names,
PvE.
it's not real game dev.
I never know when things go live. I never know. I'm like, oh, you guys know better than I do the names.
Go ahead.
But yeah, so we have serrated bolts, and you can put
Is Dip the
bolt
point?
in a target with serrated bolts, and you can normally draw them
Remember,
back out
I
of
know a
moving
lot of you are
targets, but if you have serrated
PvPers.
bolts,
I
they're
am
gonna deal
too.
damage on the exit
This
too,
is a lot of
and it is so
changes to the
satisfying to, like,
way the
land
game
the
is
final hit
played,
with the pull,
and not
and you just
necessarily.
pull
They're
back
not going
your-
to talk
your
about
bolts and you
PvP
get 'em,
today.
and
Okay,
they
that's not
just
going to be a
go
thing.
flying.
I'll take that
So-
back. Yeah, when you first brought this up, I was just like, that's so metal. Like,
Yeah.
gimme.
It's something.
Really quick.
Okay, so there's
just
an
on the
animation
topic
to pick it up.
Of ammo.
PvP's.
There are new ammo meters. Bjorn, we were
There's
just
a lot
talking
of things
about
I'm worried
this in the
about for
Fire and
PvP
Rain
already.
shootout.
The crossbow I'm not
But
worried
we actually
about.
have some live gameplay where we can see these meters working out. Can you talk us through what is this new system? How does it work? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, so there's been a pretty big shakeup in the way that ammo works in the game, where in the past it wasn't really anything that you had too much control over, but now it is something that you have.
I don't know what that
a lot
means.
of control
Oh, you're so
over and
stupid,
a lot of
Sherpa.
build crafting
Hella
tools
TOS word,
to
bud.
optimize or like make your own. And
I'm not
almost, like,
surprised the
kinda works
crossbow.
like,
It was
ability
eventually
or
going to come out, right?
superpowers
In
now,
Destiny Rising, there's
where
a character with a
lives in
crossbow, and it
your
does very,
weapon
very
tray, you see there
well.
below weapons.
So I'm not surprised the
kills
crossbow
and
coming
assists
out
with
for
anything
Destiny 2.
that'll tick up, and then when you hit full, the next kill will drop you a brick of that type. So there's a lot of things you can do now that you can build into to like have a lot more control over the pacing of when you're getting that.
Sweet.
And
A lot of these things I'm worried
there's
about
been
for
armor mods that
PvP.
exist now that like pretty much all the things that used to
But
be.
crossbow's not one of them.
finders
I think it'll be a
or
cool
inventory
challenge to try the
now fit
crossbow,
into
3 people in the
ammo
trials
generation,
match,
which is a
but
weapon stat.
try to get
So
the we ran with 1 crossbow.
players have a lot of different ways to kind of build.
For what,
around
Slayer? The
that,
crossbow. I don't think the
like,
crossbow will be
you know, get
disabled,
really
honestly.
ammo-hungry
It's
special
it's
weapons,
cool and
you
all,
have
but
some options now to actually make that
and
easier.
they
to
said in
feed.
PvP you get
We'll be
1
talking
bullet,
about this
right?
in
And you
depth on
have to
future
pick it up,
Twitter
and if you
blogs,
don't
so
pick it
stay
up, it
tuned for
disappears
that,
after X
especially
amount of
PvP
time.
heads. I've already seen conversation
So,
from our
here we go.
content creator videos going out. But before we get out of combat, I do want to talk about, alongside the new weapon archetype of the crossbow, we have some new weapon frames coming to the game.
Like what?
Yeah.
Come on, Dylan.
So, let's
There's a
start with the
trials hand
cannon.
cannon.
Yeah, so we have the spread shot hand cannon. It's like
Oh,
a
that's the
big,
pellet hand
chunky,
cannon.
beefy hand cannon
Yeah.
that fires shotgun pellets. Very close range, but hard hitting. 2-tap PvP. I'm a little afraid of that, but you know,
But
I'm
it's
sure it'll
close
be
range,
great.
right?
Yeah,
Did they say 2-tap in
it's very
PvP?
limited. It's like
Oh, okay.
like a sidearm, like big punchy sidearm, but like even less range than a sidearm.
Yeah, it's
but,
got
like,
lone
less
wolf.
precision reliant.
Those
thing
perks don't look
become
that
a
crazy.
baby.
It's got lone wolf
I
in.
love this thing.
What would you
It's
want?
pretty great.
1-2
It's
punch on a
kinda like
Titan?
having like a sawed-off
Yeah.
that's like a primary ammo, and it is just so good if you play aggressive or you use
But
like
it's
other abilities to hit people.
It's
or
really
just
good
want-
as like
They say it's a
elixir between
2-tap.
other stuff.
Right, and that's exactly how I play. So I love this thing.
And second,
You know.
so shout out to Sammy Cat, resident bow lover. She does full solo dungeons, HUD off, bows only. We have a new bow frame that's going to be coming.
Yeah, so we made a longbow, which is like a big, heavy war bow. Even slower draw than precisions, but more damage, and it has intrinsic over penetration. So if you
Do we
line
have
up a
bows
bunch
with
of
PI
draw
already?
and you like hip fire a full draw, it'll just go straight through all.
Nah,
of
they
them
definitely had
with
way
one
too much
shot.
sugar. I'll tell you that right now.
I love that our damage numbers have been squished a little bit. So they actually.
All right, sure,
mean
but we
something now, 'cause
not
if you
doing
look
that,
at how
not
much
doing
damage this
that.
bow is doing compared to like each one of those pellets in the hand cannon.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Like when like in the live game where it's like I did 20,000 damage with a shot. I was like,
Yeah,
the
it's hard to
numbers-
compare.
Yeah,
Right,
start to be
right.
meaningless. But for me, we've just changed so much, and I can't overstate like how. Yeah, how much has changed and how this game is I guess evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of those changes are like they go hand in hand, right? Like us changing the stats.
It'll be a PvE thing for
around,
sure.
You know, us
Shepard knows
making
what
new
he
builds
did.
Possible. A lot of these changes are all like they're all going to kind of combine to create something new.
Yeah. Did you see that front shielded ogre?
Oh,
with
boy.
we have a new. We'll talk about this next week.
Yeah.
But the new Banes are incredible. I'm very excited for players.
Oh boy, yeah.
We don't have a
New
crossbow
bands, new
currently. It's our
modifiers,
first
all that
one.
kind of stuff. And then the final weapon we got on tap is going to be a special weapon, another burst, shoots explosives.
Right, yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So I know a lot of people are big fans of
Yeah.
rocket-assisted sidearms.
Shut up.
Now we have a rocket-assisted frame pulse rifle.
I don't know how I feel about
So it
this.
fits a similar role, but a little bit different. It's a little more ammo
Yeah,
hungry
MVS Arsenal, too.
than the sidearms. Got a bit more range and hits a bit harder. So it kind of fits in between like a fusion rifle and a sniper rifle. Also kind of fires a little bit differently than pulse rifles, which is interesting, just because like all of our pulse rifles have like different burst delay, but when you're firing each pulse, they all have like the same rate of fire. So this, instead of being like the brr, it's like a bop bop bop. So it feels heavier and it's firing these like big, slower projectiles. So it feels chunkier.
Thank you for doing a Dave Samuel
Yes.
impression.
Oh, and it doesn't even hold that much
aspire
ammo.
to greatness.
Yeah.
This thing is like real cool. It's real heavy, but it's also like, you know, like we said, it's like pretty ammo hungry. One of the cool things about 900 is like we have the ammo stat. You know, you can build into that. You can eliminate that downside, and now you can see it working.
Yeah, same for the longbow.
do have
too,
an ammo stat now,
there
I
are some perks
forgot.
On the random rolls that you can go in, less than the draw time. Like sure.
So
it's
when they're
still gonna
mentioning
be
all
a
these
little bit
changes,
slow
right? Like the
firing,
ammo
heavy
stat
hitting,
being one of
but
them,
there's a
and the
bunch of ways that you can
weapon
build tap
damage
to
being
keep
another
these
stat
things
you
to
can
feel free
build
to play.
into.
Yeah, like one for all or other things
I'm
that care
really
about hitting
worried
multiple targets.
Yeah, right.
About how that affects
So we're- as
PvP
we're
as a
going through
whole,
this
right? Like, can I
transition,
build into
we
weapon
actually
damage and just do
have a
insane
bunch more to
damage?
cover, and,
Same
gear
with ammo.
tiering
Can I
has been
spawn in
top
with
of
more
mind
than the ammo I
for
currently
a
have
lot
for
of players
special?
ever since our reveal stream. So
They're not
Eric,
trying
I'd
to
love
show the new
dive
stuff.
in
They're
and
trying to
just
show, like,
revisit
all
what's
the-
high-level vision
the
statement for gear tiering and how we're getting players
Sandbox
to be
changes
some of that.
without showing the
so
new
gear
content is what they're
tiering,
doing. Which is
enables
good.
Players to look at a piece of gear
It's
at
good and
a glance
bad, right? Because
understand how
if they're not
powerful
showing the
it
new
is.
stuff, that
So,
either means there's a lot of really cool
you can
shit
see
coming
the
out they don't
kinda
want to show yet,
5
or there's not
icons,
very
five little
much
dots there.
new
This is a,
stuff, so they don't want to
fifth-tier,
show
armor
the
piece
new
we're
stuff,
looking
and that's like all they have. So like we see everything
The
in
stat
this
package or the
developer
stat
insight,
pool
right? So like it's
that each
I don't know if
piece
it's good
gives
or
is
bad,
going
but
to
I know
depend on the
why
tier. So you can see at
they're
tier
focusing
one,
right here on
it's
this.
gonna
You know,
drop between 52
I
and
get that.
57 stat totals, and then at tier 5, you are guaranteed 75 stats of plus stat tuning, which lets you kind of add some.
Yeah, shout out to, there were a bunch of folks that were asking, what are stat bands? Because in the game right now, it's what is low to a given player. Like 62 feels low, but an actual definition is like 58 or lower.
Yeah.
In the game now, we have UI that tells you exactly what are the stat bands for each of the tiers, so you know what you're looking for as you're trying to build a 200 or 150 or whatever you're looking for.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I love that we did this because this is the most common question I get in my clan that I answer, and I love that you could just go see it now.
Yeah, having information.
That's actually really
is
nice.
Great. I think the biggest thing about this is that because the bands are a lot narrower, you have a much better expectation of what
We have
you're
new
getting,
destinations.
Like,
I just don't think they're
going
going to show a lot of them.
Like, I know a
They're
lot of
trying
people,
not to.
Like, you go into a master dungeon.
I think they're doing
to
2 more
farm some items
streams
armor,
before
and
the
you don't
actual
know if you're
release.
gonna get like 55 or 70.
Yeah.
It's like an extremely wide range, but like that takes a lot of time and effort to get through. So now it's just like you're going into the toppest end difficulty thing to get tier 5s. You know exactly
Yeah,
what you're getting.
it looks like a crossbow, but it's classified as a sidearm.
You get your drop, it's going to be something valuable.
Isn't
it might not
it?
be valuable to your exact build, but it will be valuable. It'll be the stats.
You don't have a
total
crossbow,
that you want.
Yeah, yeah. Eric?
like an actual
and with
crossbow weapon.
The new portal system, which we'll talk about
It's a
next
sidearm.
week, you're gonna have a score goal that you want to hit to get that exact armor piece, and it's like more targeted farming or more targeted. If I want to chase a certain thing, like I know what I have to do to get it, and when it drops, I know what it's going to give me as far as the total value, right?
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah,
much
but you
more
can't pick up the
clear,
ammo from the buried bloodline.
exciting.
And, oh, go ahead.
I really like,
It's not a heavy.
The armor archetype, we now like display what things are going to be high on it and what things are going to be low. And they're like a little further apart where things are going to be spikier now. And so like, if you want to really max out stats, you can just look for that, emblem. You'll know what your armor is kind of like going to be
Oh.
good at. And it's
You
like,
can,
yeah.
you can see that like at
Weapon
the,
secondary, secondary.
your
That's
main
actually kinda
level
nice.
too.
Can
So
you
get,
see
like,
other
crossing
people's
over,
stuff like that,
I just
though?
got a bunch of drops. What did I get? Cool. Is it gunner? Is it grenadier?
Right.
Like, what is the thing that I want? You can use that as like a quick reference rather than you
Yeah,
go all the way.
buried
into
bloodline's cool and
section
all,
see,
but
like,
it's
the
nothing
exact
compared to the
And
crossbow
last,
they announced
the last
today.
detail on
Very
tier 5 for
different.
armor, we mentioned this in the reveal stream, but you can get to 11 energy for your armor. So it helps with build crafting. You can get more of those armor mods slotted and that kind of stuff.
It goes to 11 now.
Yeah, right.
It
So
does
switching
better,
over to
yeah.
weapons, though, I would love to. We have some examples of tier 1, tier 3, and tier 5 weapons to show what is that progression looking like.
Yeah, similarly, when a weapon drops, I'm able to just glance at it and be like, oh, tier 1 weapon, it's going to have base stats, it's going to have a limited
Unique ornament,
perk
hollow
pool
chip.
there.
That's crazy. Okay.
But then you can see at tier 3, we now have 2 enhanced traits. We have some of our columns are going to have more perk options in them. And then tier 5, yep, so this is a tier 3.
A tier 3 still
and
has
then
double
tier 5
perks.
is going to have even more. Like, look at
And it's
look at
gonna
the
look,
options.
yeah.
And so much enhancement, and
Yeah,
we
tier
have
4 you get the enhanced
Abundant ammo.
weapon mods
Oh,
too.
shit.
right.
Yeah, kind of like how armor is like you have a much better understanding.
I want to know
of
how that chase is
when
going
starting
to
an activity,
involve
what is
in terms of like
expectation
end game,
getting.
like to get
This,
a world
like, the
tier
multi-perk and
5
the enhanced perks kind of
for like
work that, too.
GMs
So
or raids
the
or
odds of you
trials.
getting that like specific
Like,
god roll or multi-god roll.
I want to know how
if you're
that chase is
looking
going
for,
to
like,
look.
That combo PvP, PvE
Yeah,
weapon,
Lynx, you always spiked
Yeah,
up.
we're
See, don't make me spit on that thing,
higher
Lynx.
Than like in past activities where you're just getting, okay, I'm gonna get 1 adept with 1 trait in each column.
Yeah, and we're adding a lot of depth. Like as we were hovering over those enhanced perks, they have
So
additional.
then what's going to be the best type of weapon? Is it
things
going to
that they can
be
do, whether it be
a
stats
tier
or
5
powerful
add up?
perk. We're putting all
Shiny? Is that going to be
these
like the
details
best
into
weapon in the game,
so
technically?
people know as they're getting into this depth, they can hover over these things, understand all the different stats. We'll of course have blog components. We'll have some guides that our players make, our creators make. We'll blast those out, but we're hoping to bring more of these sorts
Yeah,
of things.
75
into the game
is
to make it
base.
easier to understand. So
Yeah, that said,
For, tier 5.
if you have a great weapon drop that dropped this season or 5
For armor
seasons
anyways.
ago, if it's a good roll, it's a good roll. Like it's just because it doesn't necessarily adhere to the tier system doesn't mean it is not equal or greater value in some cases.
yeah, there was this really funny reference that Mactix made, one of our creators, where he had this beautiful giant sword, and he's like, "This is what I got today, and it has perfect rolls for a rocket launcher, et cetera, et cetera. And here's my new tier 1 weapon that doesn't really have good perks." Like, what are you going to use?
Yeah.
So to answer the question, Shadow on Blue Sky was asking, are my weapons that I have right now or armor, like, is that going to be viable in high-end content? And the answer is, of course. There are going to be a couple things in here that add incentive to try out new things, but Vivian, you had kind of framed it as a cherry on top, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
I kind of wish it
like
would
a way
force us to get new stuff. So they're
you
saying
know,
like
in the
you
past,
don't,
sometimes like the
you don't
best way to
necessarily
get your
need
path to power was like to do a lot
to
of
get new armor or
something.
weapons.
But now if you like do really hard activities as well, you know, we're also just kind of rewarding you for the time there.
Yeah. So right at the
Talk
9.
about
Go
future gear stuff in relation to this.
I don't know how I feel about that.
We will in a second, but I just wanted to touch on right at the 9. Some folks were asking, like, what do these equate to in the tier system? And when you get an adept right at the 9 weapon, both of your columns are enhanced, all that kind of stuff. Like, it looks like a tier 3. It's going to feel like a tier 3 for a while. So there is a good handshake as you're going into Edge of Fate. But yeah, the last thing for tier 5 gear, I would like to show the cosmetic treatment that we've been doing. We showed this in
I'd like to see that too.
reveal stream, but tier 5s have an awesome new shader treatment and also kill effects.
Oh,
Yeah,
we got
so
kill
these
effects coming out.
basically on the weapons, they'll come with like
That's kind of nice.
fancy shader on it, and then something almost kind of similar to what we do with Sweaty Confetti, but now it's like a specific slot where it gets a custom kill
Thank
effect.
you.
that
That's actually pretty
only comes
amazing.
On the tier 5 variant.
Yeah, tier
and you
5
can see
weapons.
with gear tiering, it's kind of learning a bunch of lessons through the years of Destiny. Like, kill effects are really
I
cool.
think
Players
having
like this.
to
Now we have a
grind
new
for power
slot
level is
for
kind
it.
of wild.
Players really like hollow foils as a chase in the game right now, and now we have tier 5s where you get sort of a hollow foil style treatment for it.
Okay.
So it's been really cool to watch y'all develop this over time. But to your point, this actually is a good segue into the next section where we're talking about new and featured gear and our artifact. So,
Okay.
Eric, if you want to take the stage, what is new or featured gear?
Yeah, so our new gear, when we drop new weapons and armor for a season or for a
Now they put the
release,
bonuses in the bottom right. That's actually really
that is
good.
going to get a bonus. It's going to be a little
I know
bit
they're not talking about like
stronger than
PvP
your
at all,
options.
but like all
So
these like QOL
on
changes
the armor side
are really good.
you are going
They're
to
really
get
good.
a
Things that should have been in the
damage
game a very
resistance
long time
bonus
ago,
per
but
piece you have equipped, and
all the
that is
QOL
kind of
changes,
scales
especially
by
for
gear
reading
tier. So
stats
if
and
I
everything,
have
is really, really good.
5 tier 1 armor pieces, I'm gonna have 5% damage resistance against everything.
That's really nice.
But if I have 5 tier 5 gear pieces, I'm gonna have 15% damage versus everything. So I guess So it is something that
I'm about it.
allows me to have a little bit of an edge. It's a very small amount. It's a min-max sort of situation where if I wanted to wear stuff that is not in the new gear pool, like I am not at a huge detriment.
Right.
But
Something that gives you like that little bit of edge to like inch out into like the highest tier stuff when you like really need just a little bit more health or a little bit more damage.
Yeah, speaking of damage, so you can see that the max is actually 10%. This is a clarification. We invited some folks into the studio to look through all of this. The original number was 15%. It's actually 10% on your additional damage when you get all your tier 5 weapons equipped. So again, cherry on top, where it kind of gives you that edge, and also it gives you a way, kind of like in earlier releases where you walk out into the tower and you're wearing all your raid gear. You're kind of like peacocking, as y'all have framed it. And now
I missed the Flaming
I have
Skull
all tier
from
5 gear. This
Nightfalls
shows, like,
in
Not
D1.
only have I mastered this content, but I've earned a bunch of
missed
really
out a
cool
lot.
stuff, gotten all the gear I
Right.
want.
I really want to grind loot over level. I get why they did it. They need filler content to keep people playing.
When it comes to the new
what I'm
gear
saying?
as well, what's the way that you identify that as a player?
Blue Sky is an
so
X
if you
alternative.
see that little kind of teal icon in the top left corner of the armor piece, that is going to tell me that it is in the new gear pool. So it's not only gear from this season or release, but it is also gear. It's like a collection of exotic pieces as well.
Yeah,
So-
if we hop into the collections really quick, there's actually a new section that's going to show, here's our featured gear. So if you have some things
Oh.
from previous releases, those are going to be a part of the build crafting as well.
Correct.
A note for any newer players or returning players, some of these things are actually like, you can go to Xur, try to grab those. You can go into Rite of the 9.
Are there really
Emissaries
only
can
3
have
new
a few
exotics?
Things like Graviton Lance. that's a great thing to pick up before this new release starts. So then you have a little bit of an edge going in.
Yeah, if y'all screenshot this, you can start hunting this stuff down right now, right?
Yeah, and we will have follow-up blogs where we're going to go line by line. I understand, like, this stream has a lot of data. It has a lot of numbers, that kind of stuff. Big lists of gear. We'll have a full bulleted list, not just in TWIDs, but in patch notes as we keep going. So I think with that, we can go into the artifact as well.
Cool.
Yeah, see, like a lot of this stuff for a PvP, I'm not super interested in. Like the artifact's cool, but like
the artifact this time around, we're going and we're exploring Kepler. So kind of going with that theme is we wanted this to be kind of like, scout the wild frontier. And so to that end, it's kind of a little longer range weapon-wise than some of our recent artifacts. One of the other themes that we wanted
whole
to get
scout,
was
sniper,
this is
handgun,
gonna be
silent,
like
shotgun.
me and my fire team, So if you're scouting solo, we have stuff for solo. If you're scouting as a group, we have stuff as a group.
You get DR, that's kind of
lastly,
nice.
it's we made this artifact a little more weapons focused than we maybe normally do, because we wanted to kind of highlight that kind of the Guardians kit, kind of down to earth, kind of grit thing. Some of my favorite perks in these are in the fifth column. There's that first one is Radiant Shrapnel, and this is gonna add an additive shrapnel burst when you're killing guys.
Damage and scorch on
they're
impact.
Radiant, or when you're radiant, or they are scorched.
The one issue I have with
actually
that,
really like that,
dealing
we pay out
sustained
Scorched
damage,
a little, 'cause, sometimes
we had
you
that
can't
issue
quite get
before where
recognition,
you were able to be
gonna
solar
pair
and you
really
could
well with
two-tap
the
someone in the head with a hand cannon and you were radiant.
Yeah, you could
Y'all
scorch
remember when
guys
that
and you can
happened?
cause them to alt burst. It's very cool. The
That makes me a little
fourth one
worried.
in this column also is a favorite of mine. It's Tangled Web, and this is going to suspend everyone when you generate a tangle via combat. And normally we do that effect, we reserve that effect for breaking the tangle, right? And now it's on creation, and it leads to a very fun situation where you can just kind of walk up and take it, and you're like, thank you guys, I'll be back. And they can't do anything, and it kind of gets you there faster if you're not using grapple grenade or something.
It works really well with the Hunter Exotic.
It also works really well with the Hunter Exotic. It's lots of fun.
Awesome.
So Kenny, they're going through a lot of QL changes that needed to be announced and talked about. Like they're all really good, but obviously everyone who's waiting for the new expansion, it's just kind of oh, that's cool. Everyone wants to see new stuff, and I get that, but all these changes they're doing are actually really, really good. We've also known about a bunch of them, but it's not really showcasing why we should get the new expansion, right? Because most of these things are going to be in the game period, even if you're a free-to-play player.
That we did last season,
So
where we had
I think this stream is a lot of information and not a lot of hype, and that's kind of the key that we should probably take into account right now. They're all really good changes. They're just kind of cool, they're not going to get you hyped to get the expansion whatsoever. They're kind of just
for
here.
joining us on the couch. Everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us during this live
That was the
stream
whole
to see what we
stream?
have to offer. We do have another live stream next Tuesday, July 1st,
That's it?
same time, same